So you've probably picked up a few Hindi phrases, maybe you even understand some of the grammar, but then the second you see something written down, it all just looks like a secret code, right? That is the Devanagari barrier. And honestly, for most learners, it's the single biggest wall between them and actually getting fluent.
So, how do we break through it? Well, the old way, the traditional path you see on the left, it can feel like this slow, painful, year-long crawl. One letter a week, it's just brutal. But now, look over at the right. The AI-assisted approach, we're talking about squashing that entire timeline into just 4 weeks. A year-long struggle becomes a one-month project. Let's dig into how. Here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to decode the logic behind the script itself. Then, we'll get super practical with the exact AI prompts that turn your computer into a personal tutor. We'll also troubleshoot some of the most common hangups. And finally, I'm going to lay out a complete, step-by-step, 4-week action plan to get you from zero to reading. Okay, first things first, let's look under the hood. It is so easy to see Devanagari and think it's just a random collection of squiggles. But it's not. It's actually a highly logical, almost scientific system. And once you grasp that internal logic, trust me, it becomes a whole lot less intimidating. Really, everything boils down to just these 4 building blocks. We've got our vowels and our consonants, simple enough. But then the real magic happens with these things called vowel marks, or matras, which literally just attach to the consonants to change their sound. And finally, you have conjuncts, which are just consonants smushed together. That's it. That is the entire framework. We're really just talking about 48 base characters that create about 100 or so visual patterns. Now, if there's one concept you really need to lock in today, it is this idea of matras, because this is the game changer. It's the ultimate shortcut. Instead of memorizing hundreds of unique combinations, you just learn one consonant and about 10 little marks that change its sound in a totally predictable way. Mastering this is the key to unlocking reading fluency. All right, so theory's great, but let's get our hands dirty. How do you actually use an AI to learn this stuff? This next part is all about the specific commands you can give an AI to turn it into your own expert Devanagari teacher. The secret here is to start simple, but also smart. You don't just ask the AI, hey, what's this letter? No, you command it to teach you the letter using a mnemonic, a memory hook. This one little trick transforms some abstract shape into a memorable image, which is exactly how our brains are wired to learn. And just look at the kind of response you get. It's not just some dry fact, it's a story. It looks like a number 3 or a small umbrella. Instantly, your brain has something to anchor that shape to. And then you get immediate context with common words. This is active learning, not passive memorization. Okay, now let's scale this up. Once you've learned a handful of consonants, you ask the AI to build you a practice matrix like this one. This is where you really start to see the beautiful logical system at play. You're not memorizing dozens of new characters anymore. You're learning one simple pattern that just repeats itself over and over. And here's what it spits out. Seeing it laid out in a clean table like this is often the big aha moment for learners. You can clearly see the base consonant ma systematically changing into ma, mi, mu. The pattern just clicks, and it turns learning into a simple, repeatable drill that builds reading muscle memory incredibly fast. Now this one. This might be the most powerful prompt of all: immediate application. From day one, you can have the AI generate little stories using only the letters you already know. This is a massive, massive confidence boost. You're not just memorizing symbols in a vacuum anymore. You are actually reading Hindi. Look, every single learner hits roadblocks. It's just part of the process. But the difference here is that with an AI, you have a 24/7 troubleshooter that can create custom exercises to solve your exact problem right when you're having it. Let's take a classic example. I'm sure you've seen this one. To a beginner's eye, these two letters, kha and da, look almost identical. This kind of confusion is a super common roadblock. It's frustrating, and it can really slow you down if you don't tackle it head on. So what do? You tell the AI your exact problem. You don't just sit there struggling in silence. You actively ask for a custom-built solution. And notice how specific the request is. Don't just tell me the difference. Explain it. Give me a memory trick, and then quiz me on it. And check out the brilliant solution it comes up with. First, it points out the tiny visual cue, that little break in the top line of da. But here's the magic. It links that cue to a memorable word.
The break in the letter da is like the break for the bowstring in danush, the Hindi word for bow. That's a connection your brain is not going to forget. Problem solved.
All right, we've seen the system, we've seen the tools. Let's put it all together into a concrete plan. This is exactly how you go from 0 to confidently reading basic Hindi in just 4 short weeks. The whole plan is structured and it builds on itself. Week 1 is all about getting the foundation solid. Vowels, the most common consonants. Week 2, you expand on that. Week 3 is all about building up your speed, and by week 4, you're focusing on mastery and reading real-world stuff. So what's the total time we're talking about here? It's about 25 hours. That's it. Roughly an hour a day, spread out over 4 weeks. Now compare that to the 300+ hours you might spend with traditional methods, which frankly, often get you worse results. The difference in efficiency is just staggering.
The most critical thing is to start strong and build that momentum. So here's your mission for the next 7 days. Master the 11 vowels, learn that first set of 15 consonants and their matras, and successfully read 50 simple words. It is totally doable, and it will give you the confidence you need to see this all the way through.
And here's your first real milestone. By the end of this first week, your goal is to be able to look at these common words, namaste, kitab, car, and just read them cold, without needing the English transliteration as a crutch. This will be your first piece of solid proof that this system is really working for you. So let me just leave you with this final thought. That script, the one that looks like an impossible, unbreakable code right now, what if it's not? We've seen that with the right system and the right tools. It's not a year-long challenge. It's a 4-week project. The code is right there, just waiting for you to break it.